Good morning and welcome to the 2024 IPF World Open Classic Powerlifting Championships. I'm Amelia Potter, joined today by Ryan Lapidat. Day 3 of the championships, and man oh man has it been exciting so far, Ryan. We have seen probably the tightest battle ever in powerlifting history last night in the 66s. We had the 74 kilo B group for you this morning. This afternoon, the 57 kilo B group, and the A flights of those two this evening. Ryan, what do you think of the competition so far?
I've been commentating since 2016. I can honestly tell you, up until now, I always pointed towards the showdown between John Hack and Brett Gibbs as the greatest battle I'd ever commentated or witnessed, period. Last night, that got bumped, and the 66 kilo battle, definitely the greatest I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. There are plenty of people here that have been saying they did not manage to sleep because they were too excited after last night.
That was me.
Yeah, it was me as well. So I'm sure today will promise some more exciting lifting. They've got a lot to live up to after the 52s and the 66s last night. There's a lot to fight for. World Championship titles, Sheffield placements, World Game placements. This morning we have the B group, and although the lifting will be a high standard, they will not be likely fighting for those positions.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for a lot of these nations to send some lifters to the World Championships, get that experience lifting on the world stage with that high-level judging.
Boyang Zhu from China now, opening on 180 kilos.
He's hit 225. He should be good for this.
Yeah, that looked super easy. And like you said, a nice, easy, conservative opener. Getting a squat on the board. We've seen a few times already some dramatic starts to one of the lifting events or another, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah, he's coached by Kedrick, and obviously Kedrick been at multiple world championships, not likely to make any major mistakes.
Qing Lin now from Chinese Taipei, 187.5 kilos, 12.5 kilos below his PB of 200.
I like these lifters operating below their previous personal best. And Qinglu Lin, 8-year veteran of the game.
Three white lights, a good lift, very strong start. And yeah, even if you're shooting for a personal best on the day, there is no need whatsoever to open with it. Don't want to take the risk unless training's been going really, really well.
Particularly in the B group, you're here to gain some experience. Like you had said earlier, you're probably not vying for any podium finishes. No need to feel the pressure, come out guns blazing and maintain a furious pace. Get all your lifts.
Nishalin Govender now from South Africa, 190 kilos.
And he looks like a big 74.
Yeah, he is tall for the weight class, but weighted at 73.85, so perhaps a bit of a cut, I imagine, but a good opening lift.
And weight cutting, of course, becoming a science. You see people like Agata, Evie Corrigan, Tim Monagatti, all using it, weaponizing the weight cut.
Yeah, Alexander Eriksson now as well.
Yeah, adding to the list.
Jean-Michael Moldner now, South Africa, 190 kilos. Seeing some comfortable looking openers. Looked good, 3 white lights. Sean Ferrugia now from Malta.
I recognize that last name.
Yeah, we had a Ferrugia earlier in the week, perhaps of some relation, or a popular Maltese name. Who knows? 195 kilos. Nice deep squat there for Ferrugia. 3 white lights, a good lift. Marius Patsarinskis now from Lithuania, 205 kilos, opening just 5 kilos below his personal best. Squatting here on home soil, 3 white lights, a good lift.
Yeah, there's an advantage when lifting on your home turf, especially if you have to cut weight, no time zone change, no jet lag. In that weight cut, when you're 30,000 feet in the air, a lot of variables to take into consideration.
Followed by his teammate, Gintaras Bledis from Lithuania. But they have the advantage of not having to travel through time zones. There is that slight added pressure of being the home nation and representing your country. But he handles it well. Three white lights, a good lift. We move now on to our final opener of this first flight. This B group has 2 flights, so it will be back-to-back if you're looking out for a particular athlete. We have Joel Chong, Singapore, 220 kilos.
Yeah, the 74 kilo class, a very popular group. And of course, later on today, it's the Open World's debut of none other than Austin Perkins, #1 nomination.
That looked really comfortable for him. I'm going to wait for the lights. Yep, 3 white lights, a good lift. I think he's a very conservative squatter. He doesn't go deeper than he needs to. And that concludes our opening attempts for this first flight of lifters. With all of them managing to get a squat in on the board, they can breathe a little bit now into their seconds. Boyang Zhu jumping 15 kilos to 195. Still a fair way below his personal best, as we mentioned on his opener, so hopefully still a comfortable jump for him. Three white lights, a good lift.
And he is another massive 74, but again, like I said, coached by Kedrick, who's one of the premier nutrition coaches that's going to help you cut weight, really maximize your levers.
Nishalan Govender now, 200 kilos, a 10 kilo jump from his opener. Just got a little bit caught on the rack there. Time to compose himself.
Nice smooth second attempt.
Yeah.
It's all green on the scoreboard right now.
It looks good, and I'm glad that didn't happen on his third attempt with the weight slightly heavier. He handled getting caught on the rack there really well. Qinglin Lin now from Chinese Taipei, 202.5 kilos. 15-kilo jump from his opener to be a personal best here on his second if he's to get this. That's a new personal best, 3 white lights. Starting to slow down a bit, but he keeps his position really nicely, and that's going to help him when the weight gets heavier to his third. Jean-Michael Mulder now from South Africa, 205 kilos. Two to one, a good lift. The first depth call we've seen so far this morning. It's quite a way in, which is a good sign. Looks good from that angle, but that is the side he gets the white light from, and the jury seem happy with it.
Yeah, when the weight gets heavier, self-preservation kicks in. Some of these lifters start cutting the depth a little bit.
Sean Ferrugia now, 210 kilos. Jumping 15 from his opener. Three white lights, looks really steady under that weight.
Wide stance like that sometimes can be difficult hitting depth, but he manages it.
Marius Patsarinskis now, 215 kilos, jumping 10, and this will be 5 kilos over his personal best, more than he's ever had on his back in competition before.
Ooh, it's a fight though.
Yeah, it is hard, but he does really well to stand that up and get it. 3 white lights, but he looks tired after that, Ryan.
Yeah, there's a pained expression on his face as he leaves the platform.
I think particularly when you're expecting a weight to be a little bit easier than it is, definitely catches you off guard. Andreas Pettis now from Lithuania, 227.5 kilos. Already opening with a PB. So we'd extend that 12.5 kilos. Just goes to show how much these athletes are pushing themselves at this level.
That's going to be on the line for depth. Let's see what the judges say. 3 white lights.
I don't totally disagree with you, Ryan, though. In person, it definitely looked a little bit higher, but we are at an angle that's quite hard to see here live. So let's have a look at the replay.
Yeah, looked a little better on the replay.
Yeah, he definitely just gets his hip crease in. Joel Chong now from Singapore, 230 kilos, jumping 10 kilos from his opener. Looks good, and it is 3 white lights. And that concludes the second round of squats with all 8 lifters getting their opener and their second attempts. A great start to the day for them as we head through to their third and final squat. Boyang Zhu now from China, 205 kilos. He squatted 20 kilos more than this before, but it could have been in a heavier weight class. Like you said, Ryan, he's quite tall.
Yeah, some of these lifters trying to get every advantage they can, dropping in weight when they go international to compete. And it's a whole nother ball game. You got to adjust the weights for the new weight class.
We got one red call from the center referee for depth, which is the hardest position to see it. The sides were happy, and usually you'll be okay with that. Qinglin Lin now, 205 kilos, 2.5 kilo jump from his second for a 2.5 kilo PB. Oh, and the jury's overruled that to a no lift.
The first no lift of this session.
Yeah, I am surprised seeing that with the 2 whites from the side referees, but that's why the jury are there. Lin now. Very solid looking third attempt. Oh, and 2-1, a no lift, unfortunately, for Lin. Let's have a look at that. I think we've just missed that there.
Yeah, look, we had in the first and second round of squatting, not a single missed lift, but in the third round of squatting, 2 lifters up and not a single good lift.
Yeah, both on 205. Maybe a number the referees and jury just don't like.
Better bump it up to 207 and up from here. Well, we got 210. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we've got Nishalin Govender now, avoiding that 205 curse. Gone straight to 210 for his final attempt. Wow, what a fight!
Excellent fight.
He heard me and he was like, I got you. 2-1, a good lift.
Let's pause and see what the jury says.
Yeah, he gets a blue from the center referee, I imagine, for downwards movement. I'll keep my eyes here.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, the bar doesn't seem to dip. I look for another infraction, but he seems fine. Yeah, I think the jury will keep it as a good lift. So the first made lift in the third round of squats. Marius Patsarinskis now from Lithuania, 217.5 kilos. Another lifter opting for the minimum jump of 2.5 kilos. Just looking to collect those extra couple kilos for his total. Feeling perhaps at his top end.
Oh, the brakes come quick.
Yeah, and he did look a little bit pained after that second attempt. He looked tired, and he doesn't miss out on much there. Only jumping 2.5 kilos, but it does mean we still only have 1 successful attempt in that third round. Can Sean Ferruggio of Malta change that, jumping 10 kilos to 220? This will be a new personal best. Second looks slightly slower, but he kept his position really nicely. Let's see if that aids him here.
Wow, he is fired up for this final squat. Coming out like a raging bull. Oh, he needed that intensity.
Oh my goodness. What an amazing battle for Sean. Oh, 2-1, a no lift on depth. That is such a shame. Let's have a look at that again.
That was on the depth, or that was on the border.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like the jury are going to help him out there. Maltese coach does go to the jury, but they send him away, unfortunately. So still waiting for another good lift. Can Jean-Michael Mulner be the one to do it. 220 kilos, jumping another 15 kilos. It's a big jump. I mean, the jump from his opener to his third, should he get it, would span 30 kilos. And it would be a hefty personal best of 10 kilos as well. Yeah, it was a big ask. I think another 15 kilos just is a bit too much of a jump.
Yeah, you take a look here, he right around, I mean, if I'm honest, it looked like it might have been a stitch high regardless. I think the 15 kilos, he felt it on his back.
Ginčas Pledis now, Lithuania, 235 kilos. Another lifter going for a personal best on his third.
7.5 kilo jump, 7.5 kilo personal best should he hit it.
And not many have, so can he break that streak?
We are 1 for 5 right now in the final round of squatting for the first flight out of 2. It's also going to be on the line for depth.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that could have been a stitch high, but let's wait for the lights. And 2 to 1, that makes sense. The red that he got was the side we're sitting on. Let's have a look at the replay on the side that he gets the white from. And the jury has overruled that, unfortunately, to a no lift. So still, we are 1 for 7 on final attempts. And we have Joel Chong of Singapore now, the final lifter in this first flight of 74B group.
What a contrast. Rounds 1 and 2 was squatting, not a single miss. And in the third, so far, just 1 successful squat. Can Chong get on the board?
And that looked really good. I'd be surprised if there was anything wrong with that. 2 to 1, a good lift. He does get a depth call, and we will hold our breath because the jury are awake this morning. We'll look at the replay.
That looked good from that angle, but that's obviously the ref that gave it to him.
Yeah, and I think it was stand, so we conclude that with only 2 lifters getting their final attempt. As you can see the results here, that's subject to change. Not only do we have another flight following now, we obviously have the primetime A group this evening with Austin Perkins and Chell Backlund, Tim Monagati. Remco Sanders now from the Netherlands, opening on 215 kilos. Saw Remco in the warm-up area and he seemed in good spirits this morning.
Smooth 215 kilo opener.
3 white lights, a good lift.
And just yesterday, his teammate, Lynn Deckers, ending up on the podium, getting her ticket to World Games, and now in the back, early in the morning, helping Remco out for his Worlds showing.
That's the sport, that's what we love about powerlifting. Jani Hapamäki now from Finland, 225 kilos. Been competing for 20 years.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a master lifter, 45 years old.
And the M1 record is 258. Maybe a bit way off that today, but got a nice high opener. Strong looking open attempt for Yanni. It is a good lift, 3 white lights. 230 kilos now for Han Pin Yo from Malaysia. Opening 12.5 kilos below his personal best.
Had the opportunity to speak to some of the Malaysian lifters yesterday. Could have been nicer, and they told me the sport is growing and growing fast in Malaysia. Two
2-1, a good lift. Just a depth call from that side referee, so let's have a look at that again in the replay. This is the side he gets the red from, but I think he should be alright there. No? Not convinced?
It was borderline.
Jury seem happy with it. They side with me and the lifter. So it will stay. Now I have Shiva Karut from Lebanon, 232.5 kilos, 7.5 below his personal best.
Lebanon, a bit of a nation on the rise in powerlifting. Joya from the juniors, as well as Etienne, who I'm told his prep for the open debut has gone very well. Might surprise some people. That's in the 120s.
Two to one, a no lift unfortunately. Gets called on depth from both side referees. And I've got to say, it wasn't the easiest opener in the world.
Yeah, that looks about parallel. I think you could just take it a stitch lower and it'll be okay.
Yeah, and hopefully he has the energy to do so. Yu Utsugi from Japan, 235 kilos, has a big personal best of 272.5. We've seen occasionally the Japanese team opening very, very light and making bigger jumps. I'm wondering if that's what we'll see here today. Just been asked to re-rack there. I think they're not convinced that his knees were fully locked out.
That looks better.
Yeah, it looked conservative. I want to wait for the lights. Yep, 2 to 1, a good lift. Yeah, it seems like that weight was more than comfortable for him, as expected.
You know what? So I was asking myself, am I turning into a stickler this morning? Because a lot of these lifts are borderline, and I'm not huge on a lot of jury interventions, a lot of active jury, but I gotta agree here.
We have Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez now from Chile, 245 kilos, very wide stance. A little bit tough, but he stands it up and gets 3 white lights. And as you mentioned earlier, Ryan, that particular stance is quite hard sometimes to reach depth in, so he does a good job of it. I don't disagree at all, though. You know, some of these squats are definitely borderline, and with borderline, it can fall either side. Christos Constantinou now from Cyprus, 245 kilos.
And welcome, Christos. We don't get a lot of lifters from Cyprus. Like to see the representation. 7-year veteran of the game. He's hit 270 kilos. There should be no major ask.
Yeah, that looked really comfortable for him. 3 white lights, a good lift. Not much more to say about that. It seemed like depth, seemed comfortable. Our final opener of this morning's session on squat, we have Clinton Lee from Singapore, opening on 250 kilos, veteran of 12 years.
Yeah, Clinton is a very solid lifter. Some years he could easily be in the Group A.
Yeah, it's very, very competitive this year, but like you said, he's a great lifter, handled there by head coach JJ. Wow, that's lovely, isn't it?
Lots of room there on that squat. Clinton just warming up.
Yeah, let's just look at that again. It's a lovely squat he has there. And that concludes our opening attempts. We head straight through to the second round of squats now, with Ulbar Karut getting that opening squat in. We move now to Remco Sanders of the Netherlands, 222.5 kilos.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
He was quick out of the hole. There was a sticking point, able to fight through it. He's telling his coach, maybe got pulled out of position.
Yeah, he seemed to be giving his coach a hand gesture that...
Right there, yeah.
Just got tipped forwards a little bit there. So we know he's got about a 240 squat in him, so just needs to fix that positioning for his third. Now, Shiva Karut from Lebanon missed his opener on depth. Retaking it now, which I think is a sensible thing because it wasn't the easiest thing in the world and he's not fighting for pole position. Retaking 232.5, 7.5 kilos below his best, and just needs to sink it deeper.
Yeah, I think this was a good idea for Shiva to retake this weight, and he doesn't need any major adjustments. Just sink it a little bit deeper. He'll be right back on track. I
think we'll have to wait for the lights there. 3 white lights,
Okay.
a good lift. Yeah, it definitely was deeper, but it sat at borderline. And so, like we said before, I can go either way.
Okay, it looks way better in the replay.
Yeah, and you've got to consider where the cameras are about where the referees are sat, and we're a little bit further away. So
Yeah. No, it looked much, much better. And on our side, Jeff Butt very close to the platform.
got the best seat in the house.
Yep, he almost has 1 foot on the platform. He could see depth.
Yanni Hapamaki now, 235 kilos, a 10-kilo jump.
There he is. And I like it. Look, if you're a ref, get the best possible position, best possible angle to do your job.
Looks strong. 3 white lights, a good lift. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Where Jeff sat right now, the left-hand side referee, he's going to see depth. So if he gives a white light, if he gives a red light, you should probably be convinced of that.
He could almost help spotting. He's so close.
He might if he needs to.
Right.
We have Hanpin Yu now from Malaysia, 237.5 kilos. Sensible 7.5 kilo jump. Yeah, and I think 7.5 kilos was the right choice there. Still a little bit left to go in the tank. 2-1, a good lift. We have Yu Tsugi now from Japan, 250 kilos, opened very conservatively, very light. Jumping 15 kilos now, which I imagine still won't be too difficult for him with a personal best of 272.5.
Yeah, 22.5 kilos blows personal best. That was quick.
Yeah, it's really, really easy for him. Just want to wait for the lights here. And so is he.
What are your thoughts, Amelia? Yeah,
Those were my thoughts.
I looked at the expression in your face, and you were holding your opinion.
Yeah, it is a shame, and I didn't want to say anything without being sure, especially because we've been wrong today. But unfortunately, just too high. He's going to have to sink it deeper on his third. Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez now, 252.5 kilos. He is pumped up. $7.5 kilo jump.
Whoa, that's a fight. Holy moly.
Yeah, but he gets it. 3 white lights. The question is, where do you go from there?
Yeah, that's a tough question. Look, it's squats. Oh, do you go up just 2.5 kilos? Now that you look at slow-mo replay, it's even slower. Maybe only 2.5 kilos. I would come out for the attempt. It's the B group. Get all the experience and all the attempts you can at the World Championships. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. Get what you can.
That was difficult.
Lemon difficult.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what I heard they say as well. Christos Constantinou now, Cyprus, 255 kilos. He's lifted 270 before, so hopefully comfortable for him. His opener looked good. Yeah, 3 white lights, a very reliable lifter, moving well. We now have Clinton Lee from Singapore jumping 20 kilos to 270. His PB is 272.5, and just for reference, this is the B group. The world open squat record is 288.5.
It's a massive jump, but we told you out the get-go, he's capable of swinging in the A group. He has before. He can make a statement coming up from the Bs.
He nods. He's pretty happy with it.
Confident.
Yeah, 3 white lights. I can't see another 18.5, 19 kilos on top of that, but looks strong, and he could definitely contend for a squat medal overall, same way as Alexander Eriksson ended up with a deadlift medal yesterday from the B group.
Yeah, whenever you have a 74 capable of squatting around 600 pounds, that's world class.
We move now into the third and final round of squats, and we have Remco Sanders jumping 2.5 kilos after a second, which I think is the sensible thing to do. It's not going to be a PB, but it's what he has today, and that's what you need to take.
All that matters is what you have on the day. You got to call audibles. All the plans go out the window sometimes.
Wow.
He's got heart. He's got heart.
2-1, a good lift. Have a look at the replay. The red was from Jeff, who was, like we said, sat nice and close. But it looks good from that angle. I think he should be okay. Shiva Karut now from Lebanon missed his opener on depth, retook and got it on his second, and has now jumped 10 kilos to 242.5 for a 2.5 kilo personal best. Just needs to make sure he doesn't revert to that high squat that he had in his opener. Keep that depth that he found in his second. Clock runs down. It is a big fight.
Oh, it's rolling down his back. Yeah.
And you know what, Ryan? In some ways, I'm glad he didn't get that, just because I think it would have been high and would have been a waste of energy, because that would have been the grind of a lifetime.
I agree with you. I thought it was a little high, and it started rolling down his back, started getting awkward on him.
He did incredibly well to keep his position, though.
Oh, he's strong. He's a strong lad, got tons of heart. To hang in the pocket with that bar in an inopportune position like that on his back.
Hanpin Yu now from Malaysia, 245 kilos.
2.5 kilo personal best on his third and final squat of the day. Frozen in time for a second there.
Yeah, just a bit too much for today, but a valiant effort nonetheless.
The bar is loaded. Give him some support here for the third attempt.
5 squats remaining in this first session. Jani Hapamaki from Finland, looking to match his personal best of 245 kilos here in his third, after jumping 10 kilos from his second, making even jumps across the board.
Whoa, depth is right on point. Look at that fight, Amelia.
That was a beautiful third squat from Jani. A perfect call from Team Finland and a good lift.
Yeah, he lets a sigh of relief. Nothing like a little bit of a scrap in the morning. He's 45 years old, still got the eye of the tiger. Look at that.
The bar is loaded for Utsugi.
We now have Yu Utsugi from Japan, 255 kilos, missing 250 on his second. A depth issue. I mean, it was very strong, very quick, just wasn't deep enough. Sometimes the issue is, as well, when you are that quick, they have a split second to see how deep you've squatted it.
Yeah, don't be so slow that they could scrutinize and overly scrutinize.
Yeah, and he seemed to slow it down that time, take it that tad deeper, and it pays off. 3 white lights.
Chile, 255 kilos for his last squat, and the bar is loaded.
A 2.5 kilo jump for Pablo Roberto Anson Perez from Chile. 255, leaving him just 5 kilos below his personal best, though I can't see him coming out, so perhaps he is letting the clock run down. Feeling like he was at his top end there.
The gentlemanly thing to do, sporting thing to do, let your fellow competitors have a moment's respite. And while we have this moment's respite, I'll give a shout out to our sponsors, Alico, whose equipment you see on the platform during this World Championships, as well as SBD, sponsoring many of the national teams. And you're going to see their kits from knee sleeves to wrist wraps to singlets, as well as the belts. And visit Malta. Malta hosting the World Championships last year, and it was absolutely lovely, a great tourist destination.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And the Junior World Championships there this year really is a lovely place to hold a championship. And we get the bar loaded now for Christos Constantinou, 265 kilos. He's been squatting really nicely today. You know, a really reliable lifter. This will be below his personal best, but it's what he thinks he has today. 10 kilo jump from his second.
Yeah, 10 kilos is a decent jump. He took 10 kilos from his opener. You see the pacing.
Looking for some energy from the crowd today for this big final squat.
7-year veteran of the game. He understands when you're at the World Championships, it's about building the total, not necessarily chasing PRs.
Yeah, and just because it's not a PR does not mean it's not hard still.
Nicely done. 2020 hindsight, he might have had a couple kilos more, but he's happy with it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and who are we to say, you know, like he might have had a difficult prep, he might have had an injury, a difficult cut, so that could have been a big number for him. He may have not hit that in a while, so like we say, take what you have on the day. And now we have Clinton Lee from Singapore taking 277.5 kilos, leaving him just a little over 10 kilos under the world record. This would be a personal best for Clinton as well.
Yeah, the lifters in Flight A are going to be getting highlights from this grouping. Group A, sorry. The ripples are going to be felt later on today from what Clinton does this morning. Ooh.
Yeah, just a little bit too much, unfortunately. I think the 20 kilo jump from his first to second took it out of him somewhat. But still ends on 270, which is a huge squat, and who knows, could still get him a squat medal come later. But we'll have to wait and see. That concludes our squat session, of course, with Clinton Lee of Singapore leading with 270, Christos Constantinou from Cyprus 265, and Yu Utsugi from Japan with 255. Of course, this is subject to change as we have the A flight later this evening. Don't go anywhere as we come back for bench press in 10 minutes. We'll see you then. Hello and welcome back to the 2024 IPF World Open Classic Powerlifting Championships here in Druskininkai, Lithuania. I'm Amelia Potter, joined in the booth by Ryan Lapadat. We are about to head into the B Group 74 bench press event. Consists of 2 flights like we had for the squats. Here we can see how the squats unfolded. Of course, placement is subject to change as we have the A flight later this evening. But we've seen some strong lifters so far, some interventions by the jury, haven't we, Ryan?
Yeah, and important to note, Clinton Lee, although in the B group, is putting up a performance that will have repercussions that will affect the A group later on. Of course, the A group, the debut at Worlds by Austin Perkins, and return of the living legend Shell Buckland and Tim Monagatti of New Zealand, the rising nation. Already New Zealand has claimed a world champion in just 2 days of the World Championships, as well as a silver medal. See if Tim Monagatti can add to that medal count.
Jean-Michael Mulder now, South Africa, 115 kilos. Three white lights, a good lift.
And with the bench press, you want to open lightly. There's a lot of possible infractions with the bench press. You have a start command, you got a rack command, and so many touch points now, as well as depth. And we have seen some interventions by the jury on some depth calls.
Michelin Govender now, South Africa, 117.5 kilos. Three white lights, a good lift. Ginteras Bledis now from Lithuania, 120 kilos. Opening 2.5 kilos below his bench press PB. Moves relatively comfortably for him, however. And three white lights, a good lift. And as Ryan said, there are plenty of infractions that can happen on bench. Hopefully we don't see many, if any of them, in the first round. But if and when we do, we will help you and talk you through it. Boyang Zhu from China now, 122.5 kilos, and interesting setup there, entering through the back of the rack. I think I mentioned that yesterday. We saw someone enter from the side and sit down. Looks good. Three white lights, a good lift.
And that is a huge range of motion.
Yeah. Long way for the bar to go.
No question on the elbow depth.
Qinglen Lin now from Chinese Taipei, 130 kilos.
Yeah, so many interesting setups on the bench press. Trying to get all the levers in place to maximize them. And that's a nice smooth opener.
Three white lights, a good lift.
In terms of a weight cut, oftentimes the bench press gets hit the worst. When appearing at the World Championships, probably a good idea of all your openers to really proceed with caution in the bench press event.
Yeah, and it goes the other way. When people go up a weight class, usually the first to gain from that is the bench press. Joel Chong now from Singapore, 137.5 kilos. Joel still relatively new to competing, 2 years experience.
That was smooth.
3 white lights, a good lift. Marius Patsarinskis now from Lithuania, opening on 140 kilos. 5 kilos below his personal best.
Relatively close grip.
Three white lights, a good lift. Yeah, using a lot of his triceps there.
It also increases the range of motion, but you never know what he's coming in with. You got to adjust any injuries.
Sean Ferrugia now from Malta, 142.5 kilos. That looked really nice and comfortable. 3 white lights, a good lift. And with that, we conclude our opening attempts, flying through these bench presses.
Everybody got an opener on the board. Now they can be more, more aggressive.
With Ferrugia leading there, we have Jean-Michael Mulder from South Africa jumping 5 kilos to his second attempt to 120, leaving him just 2.5 kilos below his all-time best. Three white lights, a good lift. Probably looking to get a new personal best in that third round of bench. Or at the very least, try to match it on the international stage. Nishalan Govender now, South Africa, 122.5 kilos. 5 kilo jump to match his personal best.
Ooh, you know what? I'm wondering if he beat that press command. Nope, 3 white lights.
Athletes can be very close to it. I think if they meet the command, it can be the equivalent maybe of being borderline on squats. Go either way.
Met the command at the door.
Opened it as they rung the doorbell.
That's right. Well, we're on point today, huh?
Oh, seems like it. 125 kilos to Ginteras Bledis from Lithuania. 5 kilo jump for a new personal best. That's a good lift. Boyang Zhu now, 127.5 kilos, a 5 kilo jump. He has a personal best of 140, but you have to consider, could have been a different weight class, he could be dealing with an injury, just not had the prep he wanted.
Oh, wow.
He gets yellows from the side referees, which indicates to me perhaps he has a butt lift. So let's have a look here from the side angle.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Clear as day.
You can see there's a light there specifically so the referees and the cameras can see if there's been a lift of sorts, and we saw a lot of light come through there. Chinglin Lin now, 137.5 kilos. Matches his personal best. Three white lights, that's a good lift.
You see a little bit of movement on the chest, and you won't get that press command until the bar is motionless on the chest.
Yeah, that is why you will see some athletes with some slightly longer and some with slightly shorter press commands. It all depends on how quickly you can get that motionless. Joel Chong now, 142.5 kilos. 5 kilo jump from his opener. Three white lights, a good lift. Marius Patsarinskis now, 145 kilos for a matched personal best on his second attempt should he make this. Three white lights, a good lift. $150 kilos for Sean Ferrugia from Malta, a 7.5 kilo jump from his opener.
And it ties his personal best.
And that concludes our second round of bench. We move straight through now to the third round for this first flight of 2 in the 74B group. 125 kilos for Jean-Michael Muldner. New personal best, getting those 2 red plates on the bar aside.
And a reminder, there will be no break between these 2 flights. We will move directly into Flight B's openers upon the conclusion of this third and final round of benching in Flight A. Oh.
Just a bit too heavy, unfortunately. The alternative, of course, was going 122.5, but he could have come here for that 125, those 2 red plates, so loses nothing by trying it. Boyang Zhu now, 127.5 kilos. Missed it on his second, just had a butt lift. Got 2 yellows from each side referees. So hopefully he can just keep his glutes down on the bench this time round. It's a very interesting approach to bench. You don't see many people entering through that part of the rack. Nothing wrong with it. Unique. Looked good from there. Did he keep his glutes down? He did. 3 white lights. Nishalin Govender now from South Africa, 127.5 kilos.
I'm not sure if it's the same lifter, but a lifter from China, Bo Yang, was previously in 83, which would be why some of these lifts seem to have come down from previous personal bests. That's looking at openpowerlifting.com.
3 white lights, a good lift. Very strong end to the day. Bit of a fight, but the right number was in the bar, I think. Yeah, as we said, sometimes their personal bests pertain to when they're in different weight classes, when they weren't injured from a long time ago. You know, unless we look at the exact details, it's hard to know. Ginteros Bledis now from Lithuania, 130 kilos, for a new personal best. Well, puts a big fight up, but unfortunately just a bit too heavy. Xinglen Lin now, 142.5 kilos. 5 kilo jump from his second. Really good call there. Lovely looking third attempt and a good lift.
And a relatively clean round of benching.
Yeah, we saw 1 infraction of the glutes lifting in the second round and a couple just on strength in the third round, but you expect to see that here and there when they're really pushing themselves. Joel Chung now, 145 kilos, a 2.5 kilo jump from his second.
When you see those small 2.5 kilo jumps, you know the lifter's sensing the end is near and some possible fights are coming. Wow, okay.
Maybe not.
The thing is, it's difficult because when 2.5 kilos moves like that, 5 kilos, wow, actually thanks the head ref. I guess he liked the press command.
Yes.
Haven't seen that before.
He was like, wow, that was easy. Thank you very much.
But yeah, so 2.5 kilo jump moves smooth like this, but 2.5 kilos is still a pretty big jump in the bench press, and a lot can happen in the extra 2.5 kilos you could put on.
It's worth noting as well, it may not have been the case here, but if a lifter runs out of the minute that they have to put in their number, it will automatically, if a successful lift before, go up 2.5 kilos. Marius Patsarinskis now from Lithuania, 150. Great catch from the spotters there. Unfortunately, just too heavy of Marius today.
Yeah, didn't get it too far off the chest, especially with a tight grip like that. Way too close off the chest to get those triceps engaged and really get the motor revving.
Big
Holy
support in the crowd now.
smokes.
Yeah, I'm sure you can hear that on the live stream. Sean Ferrugia with a big support here in the crowd.
You would think a world title was on the line right now.
155 kilos for Sean for a new personal best.
Speaking of world titles being on the line, I ran into Kyoto, enjoying the action, and look at that.
3 white lights, a good lift, and like you said, fighting as if there was a record on the line. That concludes that first flight of lifters, but don't go anywhere as we head straight through to the next flight. You may see numbers jump around and ranking jump around for bench medals, but do remember we have that prime time session tonight, so it is subject to change. Although it's not impossible for a B flight lifter to get an individual medal.
As a matter of fact, in the 52s, lady from the B group got a bench medal.
Yeah, Alexander Erickson from the B group got a deadlift medal. It's not impossible.
That's Frank Marie from Puerto Rico I'm referring to.
142.5 kilos for Shiva Karut.
Ran into Shiva in the back after a squat event. He said it's not the way I wanted squats to go, but he said I have an opportunity to right that wrong, and here we are. Nicely done.
3 white lights, a good lift. Christos Constantinou now from Cyprus, opening on 145 kilos as a personal best of 160. So you can imagine this will be comfortable. Had a great squat session from Christos.
Nice smooth opener.
And that's a good lift.
You see him lock his lats in place, his chest rises, and when it hits the chest, his legs kick in with that leg drive. Technically proficient, the veteran from Cyprus.
Handpin Yu now from Malaysia, 147.5 kilos.
I was gonna say, met that press command at the door. Right as the doorbell was being rung, it was super duper close. You're not going to hear it on the replay here, obviously, but I think it was the press command. I don't know for sure.
Let them in before they were invited in.
That's right. That's right.
Remco Sanders now 150 kilos. Again, skipping the press command or any command is a relatively easy fix. It's better than not being strong enough by far.
And sometimes it's just you're at the World Championships, you're so eager, the nerves, and it's a natural reaction. The weight is on your chest, and you just press. And while you probably practice your press commands in training, not every time. Ooh, that's a stiff opener.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. That was a little harder than you'd want your opening bench to be. It was a good lift.
He looks calm, cool, and composed as he leaves the platform. He's not overly nervous, but I would anticipate Netherlands going to proceed with caution, 2.5 kilos up from there.
Big support in the crowd for Yu Tsugi from Japan, being on 155 kilos. Japan produces some really fantastic benches.
I was going to say, Kyoto from yesterday here, 2 hours sleep, woke up early anyways regardless to cheer on his teammates, and that's the type of support some of these nations show. And you're absolutely right, the Japanese have a big reputation when it comes to the bench press event, collecting many medals in the bench worlds earlier this year. That was smooth.
Yeah, that was a lovely opener. 3 white lights, a good lift. And as you said, Kyoto on his feet cheering for his teammate. Clinton Lee now from Singapore, 160 kilos for his opener.
12-year grizzled veteran of the game, but still 31 years old and enjoying his prime years. He has previously lifted 172.5 kilos. This is well below that. Expecting this to be no major ask. Yeah, it's about to be expected.
Yeah, that was a really lovely looking bench press. 3 white lights, a good lift. We now have 162.5 kilos for Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez from Chile, opening just 7.5 kilos below his personal best. Opting out of a handout, keeping as many variables in his own control as possible.
Another excellent opening bench in the 74 kilo class.
Our final opening attempts now from our M1 lifter Jani Hapamaki with 165 kilos. Finland, another country that has a great reputation of producing good benches. The M1 bench record being at 179 kilos, so 14 kilos ahead of his opener. Bit of a push, but let's see how his opener moves. Would be exciting for a B session for sure. Three white lights, a good lift. To be the only M1 of the group and opening the heaviest out of everyone.
Yeah, it's a feat, and at that, looking at his personal best at 45 years old, he might be looking at a personal best today. We'll have to see how he paces. The opener moved well. As we take a peek at the benches so far from Group B of the 74 kilo class.
Shiva Karut now from Lebanon, 147.5 kilos, a 5 kilo jump from his opener.
And the positive momentum is back on track for Shiva. Hand raised, feels a lot better than he did in the squats, and he can keep that going into the deadlifts. Looking to regain some positive momentum himself here, Amelia.
Absolutely. We have Han Pin Yu looking to regain that momentum here. Wasn't a strength issue, it was just missing that command. Just skipped it. Needs to listen out a little bit more, be a little bit more patient. He's gone up 2.5 anyway, trying to stay on track perhaps of the total that he wanted.
It's not a major jump,
No, it's not the riskiest move.
but it's still a move up. There we go.
Yeah, and he definitely waited for it that time, and it pays off. 3 white lights.
Sometimes I think it is a mental thing as well for the lifters. They have to feel like they're moving forward at least a little, even if just 2.5 kilos. And if they were opening extremely light, there is some wiggle room, as opposed to you're opening relatively stiff for an opener. You didn't leave yourself any wiggle room to move up at all in this particular situation.
Remco Sanders now jumping 2.5 kilos from his opener. I think the sensible decision. The opener looked pretty tough, Ryan.
Yeah, talking about opening light and opening stiff. I don't know what they were expecting, but it turned out to be quite the scrap for an opener. It was work.
Well, his squat second attempt was quite hard, and he seemed surprised by that, so maybe just feeling the travel a bit.
Oh, but he can fight, can he? That kind of looks like the opener despite moving up 2.5. And he might just be finding another gear to acclimatize.
The bar is loaded. Stepping to the bar, 152.5 kilos for Christos Constantino of Cyprus.
152.5 kilos now for Christos Constantinou. 7.5 kilo jump.
Seven and a half kilo jump from his opener. 7.5 kilos from his personal best. You can see the pacing. But first, let's see how this moves. Yeah, 7.5 might be there. What do you think, Amelia?
I think that could be justifiable. He's a very technical lifter, and he's proved with his squats that he can push heavy weights, keep form, and keep pushing through. Maybe 5 would be a safer bet, but I wouldn't count him out of it. Yu Tsugi now from Japan, 160 kilos, a 5 kilo jump from his opener. His opener was very easy. His personal best is 175. Perhaps just playing it safe here. Like we said, we don't know the circumstances, perhaps dealing with some sort of injury here. Taking a lighter weight. Got a relatively long hold on his chest there, but handled it well with 3 white lights.
Yeah, he's only ever lifted in the 74, so those PRs done in the same weight class.
Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez now from Chile, 167.5 kilos. 5 kilo jump from his opener. Wow, that looked extremely comfortable for him. 3 white lights.
Clinton Lee coming up. The bar is loaded. 167.5 kilos.
See another equal jump to his third, being completely justifiable there. Clinton Lee from Singapore jumping 7.5 kilos to 167.5 for his second attempt.
Makes easy work of it though.
3 white lights, looks good.
I'm wondering if he takes a 5 kilo jump to match his previous personal best, or tempts fate. He did miss his third squat. So does he play it a stitch more conservative to add kilos onto the total? We're going to have to see.
Jani Hapamäki now from Finland, 170 kilos, a 5 kilo jump from his opener. Has a personal best of 173. Looks good. And it is 3 white lights. I don't imagine he'll be stabbing at the M1 record today, but he's going to land somewhere just below it, I think.
152.5 kilos. The bar is loaded.
Hanpin Yo now from Malaysia, 152.5. Didn't get his opener due to his glutes lifting off of the bench. Got it on his second. Went up and got it on his second, and has now gone up another 2.5 kilos to his third.
It's a good lift.
3 white lights, a good lift.
We have Shivakan of Lebanon.
I think, sorry, he skipped the command on his opener, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. But that was a good attempt selection. Getting the kilos out of him, staying on the board.
Shiva Karut now from Lebanon, 152.5 kilos, a 2.5 kilo PB.
Oh, nice rebound from the squat event. 3 for 3 in the bench press, and that's how you pull it around and rally.
Next up is Sanders from Netherlands. The bar is loaded. We have 155 kilos on the bar.
155 kilos for Remco Sanders from the Netherlands, 2.5 kilo jump. I think that's the right move. He's having a little bit of a harder time on bench press than I think he thought. Well, he's not stopped trying, but no, unfortunately just gets caught there in the middle, and with that slightly closer grip, that's where you tend to see the slowdown come in.
The bar is loaded. We have 157.5 kilos on the bar for Konstantino from Cyprus.
Christos Konstantinou now from Cyprus, 157.5, opting for a 5 kilo jump. I think that's the right move. They've made really good decisions so far, and he's looked really strong. Perhaps looking for that 9 for 9 day. And I think that was the right call. Ooh, but unfortunately, gets yellows from the side referees. Let's have a look at that from the side.
Probably means the butt lifted. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and there it is, unfortunately.
And that's the difficult negotiation when you have leg drive, trying to get it off the chest, but too much and your butt might raise.
165 kilos for Utsugi, sorry, from Japan. 5 kilo jump, 10 kilos below his personal best.
This is Yu's first international competition, first competition outside of Japan.
Yeah, and it's a long way to travel.
Mm-hmm.
That must be taken into account. They've done a good job of doing that so far. That looked like a wonderful third attempt. 3 white lights, a good lift, and there's Team Japan cheering him on.
Kyoto right in the middle. I wish I could bottle that energy.
It's funny, lifters often look happier supporting their teammates more so than competing themselves.
Leah Babwell, there's footage of her last night, literally almost in tears as Penna was walking out for his final pull. They're so emotional and behind each other.
Clinton Lee now, 172.5 kilos, made a 5 kilo jump to hopefully match his personal best. Although missing out on that final squat, he's having a great day. Looking really strong. That looks lovely. I was a little bit worried about his right elbow. Let's have a look at that again from the front. The jury will be keeping their eye on it as well. I think it hits borderline, but yeah, that right elbow's high, although...
We wait with bated breath for the jury.
And we wait, we keep our one eye there, but for now, Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez from Chile, 175 kilos for his third and final attempt. 5 kilo PB, big milestone getting those 3 red plates aside. That was a good lift, and I think he's pretty happy about it.
I think so.
We love to see that kind of enthusiasm. And it looks like the bench that got a red call is sticking as a good lift. Our final bench press of the morning, Jani Haapmäki from Finland, 175 kilos, attempting a 2 kilo personal best. Imagine taking a Finnish M1 record, or open record probably, as well, back home with him. Landing just 4 kilos below the world M1 record if he gets this. Oh, unfortunately just tips back there. And that is almost an impossible position to get out of once it starts going. You see that a lot more frequently in equipped than you do in raw though. And that concludes bench press for this morning's session. As you can see, Anderson Perez of Chile leading with 175, followed by Lee of Singapore and Haapmäki from Finland. Though, like I said before, this is subject to change with the A flight this evening. Don't go anywhere as we'll head back to deadlifts in 10 minutes time. See you then. Hello and welcome back to the 2024 IPF World Open Classic Powerlifting Championships here in Druskininkai, Lithuania. I'm Amelia Potter, joined by Ryan Lapadat, and we have the 74B group for you this morning, or this afternoon now rather. We head into the deadlift event, and as you can see, the subtotals heading in before we hit the deadlifts. Of course, we have the prime time this evening with some new faces such as Austin Perkins, some more recognizable faces in the IPF like Chell Backlund and Tim Monagati. It's going to be an exciting session for sure, but before that we still have quality lifting from the 74B group now, and in a couple hours time the 57B group. But to kick us off, we have Marius Patsarinskis from Lithuania.
That's a bit of work.
It's a good lift, but yeah, as you said, it was a bit wobbly towards that lockout, or a lot of the way. Perhaps just his style of lifting, but let's have a look at that. Wearing knee sleeves, sometimes lifters do that to try and disguise soft knees.
That's right. And here's the give and take with wearing knee sleeves. Sure, it disguises possible soft knee issues, but also gets a little bit of grip on the gnarling and creates traction.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure if that trade-off is completely worth it, but here
Nine times out of 10, no.
Sean Ferrugia from Malta, 215 kilos.
That's what we're used to an opener looking like.
Yeah, very solid. 3 white lights, a good lift. And a lot of the time is, yes, you're wearing the knee sleeves to perhaps disguise your soft knees, but then instantly we go, oh, you're wearing those to disguise your soft knees? Let me look if you've got soft knees.
Yeah, look, this is not a new trick, and the refs are hip to the game.
Indras Bledis now, Lithuania, 215 kilos, and of course with every successful opening deadlift, they secure their total.
That was smooth as well.
It's a good lift.
You know, with your opening deadlift, you just want to solidify your total, then you can start taking bigger jumps. But when you fly too close to the sun, and oftentimes in a flight or two, at least somebody's going to do that. If not missing, you're going to see a lifter experiencing turbulence and really have to rev that engine to lock it out.
Boyang Zhu now from China, 220 kilos. I believe you said before he dropped down from the 83s.
That's right.
So his personal best is 270, but of course that was likely to be as an 83.
Fast and snappy.
Smiled at the top for the photo and put it down. 3 white lights. Jean-Michael Mulder now from South Africa. 235 kilos, his opening deadlift.
Jean-Michael, competing 2 years, has hit 250 kilos. Likely stronger than that previous personal best. Of course, South Africa, there's a bit of travel to get here. Other variables in play. It moved well, but it was a bit of work.
Slow and steady, I would say. 3 white lights. And the interesting thing is for South African traveling, it's actually several hours of traveling for only 1 hour of time difference. So you get all the disadvantages of traveling except the big time zone change.
And that time zone change could be a killer, believe me.
Qinglen Lin now from Chinese Taipei, 242.5 kilos.
Very smooth.
3 white lights, a good lift. Joel Chong from Singapore, opening on 252.5 kilos. Only 10 kilos below his deadlift PB, but with only 2 years competing, you can imagine he's still trying to find that top end, still got some newbie gains. That's what I hope, at least, opening this close to your PB.
Joel weighing in at 73 kilos even, full kilo below the class. Likely didn't have to cut, still growing into the weight class. That's a benefit when you can eat your way into the competition.
Yeah, that looked extremely comfortable for him. Nishlan Govender now from South Africa, the heaviest opener of his first flight, 270 kilos.3 white lights, a good lift. And everybody in this first fight has secured themselves a total. Just for reference, the World Open deadlift record is 340 kilos.
Yeah, that's a monster deadlift right there.
Absolutely huge. Maybe we'll see some stabs at it later tonight. Not right now.
Yeah,
Although our heaviest openers are 280 and 290, definitely not small openers, but
no,
a little way off.
It'd be some Herculean jumps to get that far. But Austin Perkins, certainly capable.
Absolutely.
Same with Tim Monagatti and, of course, Chell Becklin.
It's going to be an exhilarating session later. Marius now, 215, and
Yeah, I do see those knees a stitch soft when he gets to the top there.
knee sleeves are working though, it seems. 3 white lights. And you can see that, you know, it's getting caught on the knee sleeves, and that is, I'm just not convinced by that lockout, if I'm honest with you.
You see them lock for a second and then briefly unlock, and now you know why those knee sleeves are on.
Maybe the right move then, it seems.
He's lucky.
Ginteras Bledis from Lithuania, 222.5 kilos, looking for a PB on his second attempt.
Bit of a struggle bus to get that to lock out, but he does. Small jump from here, I'm sure.
Yeah, seeing some difficult openers and second attempts here, more so than you would expect. But it is the end of the day, and like we said, a lot of these men have traveled a long way. And maybe for the first time. Sean Perugia now from Malta, jumping 20 kilos. He had a very comfortable opener, looked really, really strong. And this would land him 10 kilos below his deadlift PB. And again, the same support he had for his other lifts in the crowd for him. And for a morning session, it's very well attended here.
Pretty snappy. I'd say a personal best could be in order.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You know, that was a pretty hefty jump from his opener, and he made it look extremely comfortable. Boyang Zhu from China jumping 20 kilos to 240 for his second attempt. 220 looked very comfortable. Three white lights, a good lift. I'd say my second favorite thing about deadlifts after the deadlift battles are seeing the variation of setups you see from lifters now.
Yeah, you see all types of rituals, and it keeps a consistency for the lifter. A lot of variables out of your control, and there is no consistency, but you do have that.
Qing Lin now from Chinese Taipei jumping 7.5 kilos to match his current deadlift PB of 250.
Wow, that was smooth too.
Yeah,
More room.
really nice. He's a very efficient deadlifter. I know a lot of people say sumo is cheating, but you have to be good at it for it to count, and it's very technical.
I can tell you right now, you make me pull sumo, my deadlift drops. Certainly not a cheat code for me.
250 kilos now for Jean-Michael Muldner from South Africa. Match his deadlift PB, composes himself. It's a big number on the international platform.
Oh, and a sticking point just over the knees, but
Still moving.
he's refusing to give. Talk about heart on. Oh, what a shame. That was. It would appear top end. He
Yeah.
will have another opportunity, but he emptied so much of the tank on that attempt, Amelia.
And he also, the grip started going from pretty early on, so he did amazing to hold it in his fingertips there.
The man's got strong fingertips.
Now Joel Chong from Singapore, 260 kilos. A 7.5 kilo jump.
2.5 kilos below his personal best, but 252.5 was fast, snappy. I don't think this is going to be close to 2.5 kilos below his personal best anymore.
No, not at all.
No, yeah, 2.5 kilos is not going to break the bank at this point. I'd be comfortable with another 7.5. What do you think, Amelia?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least he looks really, really comfortable with that weight in his hands.
And unclasped the belt with authority.
Jumping 20 kilos now from his opener, Nishalin Govender from South Africa, moving from 270 on his opener to 290 kilos on his second attempt.
Now this is a nice size deadlift in the 74 kilo class, especially for the Group B. Judging how he pulls this, we might see a 300 kilo pull from this young man. He hits it. I don't know if we have another 10 kilos left. Might be a big ask.
Yeah, it's a good lift. And anything from up from here would be a personal best, and I think that would be what to shoot for. 300 kilos, he has nothing to lose by going for it, but I think it would be a bit of an ask, like you said. But hey, we've seen big grinds so far. I mean, just look at the 66s yesterday. And that concludes our second round of deadlifts in this first flight of 74s. We head straight through to the third and final round now. Don't go anywhere, we go straight through to the next flight immediately afterwards. Marius Patrinskis now from Lithuania, 220 kilos. Just too heavy today, unfortunately. We see a lot of lifters with talc on their legs to help the bar smooth up the legs. Those knee sleeves would have had that opposite effect.
Yeah. But they served their purpose.
Yeah, he got two out of 3 lifts in. We now see his teammate Gindras Bledis from Lithuania jumping 5 kilos to 227.5, and this will be for a personal best attempt.
Too much on the day. The fellas reaching and potentially overreaching, and we're used to seeing this in the final run of pulls, Amelia.
Yeah, it's not an unfamiliar sight. It comes to the point where really it becomes a 50-50 guess. A few lifters are very reliable, and you know that they're going to get their final pull, but it's hard to say when we haven't seen them so many times before. Now, one lifter who has been pretty reliable the whole day is Sean Ferrugia from Malta. Made another big jump to 250 kilos. This will be a personal best.
Also reliable, his support in the crowd today, especially when facing a third attempt. Oh!
And that is such a shame.
Yeah, but everybody has a limit.
Absolutely. But other than that, I mean, he's had a phenomenal day of lifting. And the support he's had has been just fantastic. Jean-Michael Muldner from South Africa now, retaking 250. Now, he held on to it for so long, and finally his grip let loose, and now he's retaking it, but has he emptied the tank on that second attempt?
He would need to channel Panagiotis at this point. That was such a valiant effort in the second attempt, but unable to lock it out. I just don't know how much energy he has left in the reserves.
Yeah, pack his hands with chalk and just pull and hope. We're at that point again. Can he keep it moving?
Yeah, I just don't think he's getting past that.
But what an effort to come back out and even get it up to his knees after that Herculean fight on his second attempt. Qing Lin Lin now from Chinese Taipei, coming out for 255 kilos, a 5 kilo jump. And his second looked pretty strong. I imagine 5 kilos won't be too challenging in terms of third attempts, we hope, but no one's got a third attempt yet.
I was just about to say, but if anybody can change the momentum here, it's Lin, who's had such snappy deadlifts in this final event.
And I hope he hasn't looked at the scoreboard before coming out.
Yeah, I'm not overly surprised. 250 was pretty quick.
Yeah, great decision making from the team there, and breaks the river of red that was the third attempts there. Boyang Zhu now 262.5 kilos. Has jumped another 22.5 kilos, a bigger jump here.
He likes his big jumps. 20 kilos from his opener, 22 and a half from his second. Let's see if it makes the brakes come on. That looked pretty good. 3 white lights.
Yeah, strong end to the day there. We now have Joel Chong, Singapore, 265 kilos, a 5 kilo jump for a new personal best. Starting to see more and more athletes trickle in here. Just saw Annie Nelson from the 69s come in. Here comes Joel for a new PB on his third and final attempt. Three white lights, a good lift, and he seems very happy with the day he's had, and he should be. One lift remaining in this first flight of lifters, and as Ryan's just pointed out to me, Govender seem to have gone for that 300 kilo milestone.
Look, it's ambitious, but I respect it. You're at the World Championships. It's a milestone. You want to hit it in front of the world. But 290 didn't look like to me there was 10 kilos left in the tank, but I've been proven wrong before, and a little bit of inspiration can go a long way.
Absolutely, and we are often encouraged to be proven wrong in these scenarios. Nishalin Govender from South Africa, 300 kilos, we a personal best and a huge milestone. 290 was difficult. This is a big ask, but not impossible. Yeah, unfortunately just glued to the ground. He had no reason to not go for it if that's what he came here to try and attempt. But 290 was near top end. And don't go anywhere, we go straight through to the next flight of 74s. And you will see their ranking jump around, but just as a reminder, as I have been saying, we do have the A flight this evening. Shiva Karut now opening with 240 kilos. Shiva had a great bench session.
Had me guessing at the start there, I'm not going to lie. Had me in
Yeah.
the first half.
yeah, I completely see that. It was a bit scrappy off the ground. He was patient with it and rewarded, but a little heavier perhaps than you'd want an opener to be.
I'd proceed with caution, unless that's just the way he pulls and they all look like that.
Very hard to grind through sumo though. 255 kilos for Utsugi Yu from Japan. Yu Itsugi, sorry. 255 as a personal best of 302.5. As before, big support from Team Japan. Very easy opener. 3 white lights, a good lift, secures that total with a very conservative opener. Remco Sanders of the Netherlands now, 260 kilos. He had a bit of a difficult time with squat and bench, perhaps feeling a little harder than he expected. Let's hope deadlifts is a little easier for him.
Trying to read his facial expression as he leaves the platform. He doesn't seem too worried. There's a little bit of work. Let's see how they proceed with the second attempt and then third.
Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez now from Chile, opening with 260 kilos.
260 kilos on the bar for Roberto Pablo Perez. Anderson.
That is a good lift, 3 white lights.
From Finland, the bar is loaded. Same weight, 260 kilos.
260 kilos remains in the bar for Yanni Hapamaki.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was shaky start there and a shaky finish. Gets called from the side referees for red for insufficient lockout. Let's have a look at that.
Those knees just can't lock for him, and that's the opening pull.
The coach goes to the jury, but I'm not sure he'll have any success there.
No, I see the jury shaking their head.
Now I have Christos Konstantinou from Cyprus, 265 kilos.
That's what you'd expect an opener to look like.
Yeah, and Christos has been very reliable, very strong the whole day, and I expected nothing else from him from his opener.
The bar is loaded. Let's give it up for Pin Han Yu from Malaysia.
Hanpin Yu now from Malaysia, 270 kilos.
It's a good lift. And as for the first attempt, Clinton Lee from Singapore. 280 kilos.
3 white lights, a good lift, and secures himself a total. We have one opening attempt remaining, and it's from Clinton Lee. He's looking really strong today, and like you said, Ryan, could have easily fallen into the A flight. It's just the way the cards fell this time round. Obviously leading with charge in the B flight this morning, opening on 280 kilos, 22.5 kilos below his personal best.
That was smooth, a lot left in the tank, and we're talking about a possible 300 kilo pull in the first flight. Clinton, unless he drastically slows on the second attempt, I could see him pulling into the 300s.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that in his second attempt, in the way that it's been moving.
Yeah, 300 kilo, 20 kilo jump from his first.
Not unreasonable by any means.
Unreasonable.
We move now to the second round of deadlifts. All bar one lifter has secured their total. Hapamaki with that shaky start, but hopefully he can lock those knees coming round now. Shiva Karut from Lebanon, 250 kilos, a 10 kilo jump from his opener.
In 140, we thought moved slow, but it was difficult to tell. Possibly that's how his deadlifts look. Sumo, they say patient off the floor, and his opening pull was patience personified. Was it just patience, or was it actually difficult?
I guess we'll find out very soon. Wow.
Well, 10 kilo jump, he handles it.
I'll tell you what, I don't think it was either, I think it was both.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe a little bit of both are true. Doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. And I think, you know, from a shaky squat event, hasn't missed a lift since. 3 for 3 in bench, 2 for 2 so far in deadlifts. Maybe another 5 kilos to go.
Yeah, he's looking good for sure, working hard. And now Jani Hapamaki from Finland had a pretty shaky opener. He just couldn't get his knees to stop locking and unlocking, and it meant he didn't get the lift. It was 2-1, but the jury were convinced that the red lights were correct. He's retaking it now for his second. He's lifted more than this before with a PB of 282.5, but can he just keep it locked out? Maybe shake off some of those nerves. It looks
yeah,
better.
It's better. It is
looks
better. It is
Yeah,
better.
there we go. And we feel the same way. Wipe that nerve off your forehead, get the sweat away. He's got a total. Perhaps it was just that. Perhaps it was just nerves there.
So take a look at his knees. They were shaking, but he eventually locked them out.
And there's Team Japan supporting like they have been all day. Yu Utsugi, Japan jumping to 272.5 kilos. Clearly a very well loved and respected lifter. Rocking that cool old style Japan SBD singlet.
And that was smooth.
Tidy, yeah. We now have Remco Sanders from the Netherlands jumping 15 kilos. His opener looked a little tough, but clearly didn't feel it with a jump like that.
Wow, that's a slow lockout, but it looks like he might make it. Can he get his shoulders? Oh my gosh. Are the shoulders back?
I'm gonna wait for the lights. Yeah, I was a little bit worried that he was supporting with his legs. Let's have a look again in the replay. I think it was quite, just here you'll see him hop the bar up his legs a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that is supporting at the end.
Yeah, sometimes when you're in that position, you just want to do anything you can to lock it out.
Netherlands approaching the jury. I'd be surprised if it swings their way. It's worth the question, though.
Christos Constantinou, Cyprus, 277.5 kilos, 12.5 kilo jump. He's looking strong. Three white lights, a good lift, and he looks like he's feeling good. We now have Han Pin Yu from Malaysia, 282.5 kilos, a 12.5 kilo jump to match his personal best. A little bit of trouble at lockout there. Did the bar dip? Yeah, unfortunately it did. Sometimes I worry that I say that too loudly and the referees go, you know what, maybe it did. I'm sure it's not true, but there's a part of me that worries.
Well, let's take Amelia's word for it.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? We now have Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez, 290 kilos from Chile, jumping 30 kilos from his opener. A pretty hefty jump here in the 74s.
Yeah, that's huge for a 74 opening at 260. It's gonna feel a heck of a lot heavier.
Wow, did not expect it to move like that. It is a good lift. He is full of surprises today. We now have our final second attempt from None other than Clinton Lee from Singapore, jumping 20 kilos to 300. Wow, this is a big second attempt. His personal best is 302.
We were hoping for a 300 kilo pull from Clinton, getting it in the second attempt. Judging how fast this moves, where might his third attempt be?
And he really maxes out his stance there. Toes in danger. Wow, he is so strong.
I think he's got another 10 kilos in him.
Oh, absolutely. That 20 kilo jump barely slowed him down.
And if he can add another 10 kilos to 752.5, that'll play in the A group as well.
And that concludes our second round of deadlifts. We move straight through to the third and final round. You can see the current results as it stands, with Lee leading with 300, followed by Anderson, Perez, and Govender, both with 290. Anderson Perez slightly lighter and still with one lift remaining. And I can tell you he's made another big jump, 22.5 kilos to his third. But now we have Shiva Karut from Lebanon, 255 kilos to match his deadlift PB. Just too much, unfortunately. Out of energy for today, out of strength, but a valiant effort. Remco Sanders now from the Netherlands, so close to getting that 275 on his second. Looking to retake it here in his third. He's done this weight before, but circumstances are different. Has he emptied the tank, Ryan? Can he get it this time round? It was hard on the second time, but he got there. Just lost grip at the top. No, unfortunately not.
Taking a moment to assess the situation before he leaves the platform.
Might have been wrong there. Remco may have been ramping on his
I
second
think
attempt.
it was Remco who was ramping, you're right. Yeah, he took a moment to gather his thoughts. Sometimes you get a little bit of lightheaded with all the internal pressure.
We now have Hanpin Yo from Malaysia, missed 282.5 on his second. Retaking it now on his third.
Came up, I know there was a stutter with the shoulders. Okay, I was wondering if there was an up down. I wasn't sure if I seen it with the bar.
Yeah, let's have a look again here. I actually had my eyes on his knees, so I missed that. It might have been his knees, you know.
It might have been the knees actually.
But can't be contested. 3 reds. Fortunately, no lift for you. 285 kilos for Jani Hapamäki from Finland. Was very shaky in his 260, missed it. just got it on his second, still a little shaky. He's jumped 25 kilos, Ryan.
And if you, I mean, he breathed such a sigh of relief after locking out 260 to go up 20. Did he mean to put in 2.5? And
We'll find
carried the
out.
decimal by accident. That's a pretty crazy jump, given what 260 looked like.
He was like, hey, why not? Why not?
Oh! I mean, he's a gutsy lifter. Hats off to him.
That was a roller coaster. One of the very quick roller coasters, but a roller coaster nonetheless. Got some attempts above 300 kilos coming up for some pretty sizable totals as well in this A group. With Lee, if he gets his final attempt in, with it ending on a 752.5 total. Now we have Christos Konstantinou from Cyprus, 287.5. This will give him a 705 total, breaking that 700 mark. Should he get this? He's been very consistent so far. It looks good. Really white lights, a great end to the day, and that clearly meant a lot to him. Now, Ryan has just pointed out to me that if Lee gets that 752.5 total, I think it would have landed him 5th in nominations.
Yeah, he is potentially aiming for a top 5 spot from Group B. We told you from the outset, Clinton Lee was a contender. Living up to the hype, this 10 extra kilos is really going to help his campaign.
Yeah, and it's not just about podium placement, Sheffield World Games, there's also team points at play. So placement really does matter, even off the podium. We now have 290 kilos for Yu Utsagi from Japan. We know we'll hear a roar from the Japanese team as he comes on. And there it is. A very comfortable, I want to say, looking third attempt, and a really strong end to the day. Two final attempts now, Ryan, and both above the 300 mark, both above 310 in fact.
Yeah, if they land these, both of these would be in the top 8 nominations, which would put them in Group A. Very competitive Group B session this morning.
Yeah, and would not be surprised to see one or both of them next year in that A flight if they keep this momentum up.
Clinton's been there before. He might return.
Clinton Lee now, as we said, coming out for 310 kilos, and based off his second, it's not a huge stretch. This would give him a 752.5 total, and based off of nominations coming in, as we said, that would have got him 5th.
I think it's good attempt selection based off the 300. I think 310 is what I would have put in myself. Do they like the shoulders? The only question. They do. 3 white lights. And making a powerful statement from Group B, Clinton Lee and Team Singapore.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. It's had a massive day so far, and that, I believe, was still including missing that final squat. So imagine the total he would have put up if he got that. He is so incredibly strong. And making a statement to the A group saying, don't forget I'm here. Pablo Roberto Anderson Perez from Chile now, our final deadlift of the morning. jumping 22.5 kilos to 312.5 for a big personal best. And this will land him on the 740 total. Wow! It was bit by bit, but he got there. 2-1, a good lift. He does get a blue from that center referee.
22.5 kilo jump, monster jump, and 740 kilo total is a big total in Group B. Once again, that would put him in the top 8 nominations coming in, so would have put him in Group A. Obviously, you have to do that coming into Worlds, but quite the improvement on that young man.
Absolutely incredible, and it looks like the lift will stay as well. What a day he has had. Quickly, we can see here, leading with 312, Anderson Perez, followed by Clinton Lee with 310, and on body weight, 290 for Atsugi, but that is subject to change later as we see the A flight at 7 p.m. local time. We have the 57B group coming up in little under 2 hours, over 1 hour, sorry. So come back for that, and we'll see some more great lifting. See you then.